is a quiet question that follows most of us like a shadow. What if everything you are chasing is already in the house you are trying to leave? Pause only in your mind and feel how that sounds. It is a strange thought, both comforting and unsettling, and it wants us to look differently. Once, in a village far from hurried clocks, an old man carried a small lantern every evening. The lantern was not remarkable. It was dented, a little smoky, the glass patched with strips of cloth. Travelers asked him why he bothered with such a fragile light when the sun asks the same favor of the sky every morning. He would smile and say nothing. Many assumed he kept the lantern out of habit, or perhaps superstition. Few tried to follow him. One night, a young woman did. She walked behind him, careful to keep a distance, curious but respectful. The lantern did not make a bright beam. It made a soft pool, just enough to see the next step. The man walked slowly, never rushing, and when a stone lay in the path, he did not step around it. He touched it, and for a long moment, he looked at it as if it told a story. Once they arrived at the outskirts, he set the lantern down beside a withered shrub, hummed a tune, then rose and walked back into the dark. The young woman, bewildered, waited. After some time he returned, carrying a small pot from his house. He watered the shrub and then, with a careful hand, transferred the lantern's warm light to a tiny mirror, angling it to catch the moon. The shrub sighed, perhaps metaphorically, and the next season it bloomed. Stories like this hold a subtle truth. Small, steady attention changes things that loud effort cannot. You may be leaning in, waiting for me to say, the trick is discipline, or meditation, or a morning routine. All of those are helpful, tiles placed on a path. But listen and let the curiosity deepen. Have you noticed how we keep searching for the big, shiny solution? A course, a strict plan, a dramatic life hack. We believe transformation comes from upheaval, yet much of our life is composed of tiny, repeated acts. The lantern, the watering, the angle of a mirror, these are small. The surprising thing is not the smallness itself, but the invisible thread that weaves them together. There is an ache beneath our modern striving. It sounds like this: do more, be more, fix more. Underneath it, another voice whispers, I am tired. I am unsure. I am afraid of ending up the same. That whisper is not a weakness. It is an honest compass. If we listen, it will guide us to practices that do not demand perfection. It will guide us to a different kind of resilience, the one that is built by return, not by triumph. If this invitation touches you, take a slow breath with me now. You may be wondering, what are these small acts? How do I begin? Imagine a river. The river does not aim to carve a canyon in a single night. It flows day after day, patient and consistent. Sometimes the river floods, sometimes it pauses behind a fallen tree. Yet in time the river's persistence shapes the stone. You and I are like that river. Our habits, our choices, our tiny attentions, these are the water. We forget that moderate, steady flow reshapes the hardest edges of life. Let me tell you about 3 simple stones I keep in my pocket. The first is silence, the second is noticing, the third is returning. I will not declare them holy or miraculous. They are practical. They fit into the palm. I will tell you why they matter, but not yet how they combine to become something larger. Keep that question with you for a while. The first stone, silence. Not the grand retreat in the mountains, but the small silence between your breath and your next thought. It is a thin seam where clarity gathers. Many of us fear silence because it reveals things we have been avoiding. In silence, we meet our inner weather. We discover the patterns of habit that run like threads through our days. Silence is not an absence. It is a place where things can line up. It is the lantern's tiny pool of light. The second stone, noticing. This is the art of paying attention to the ordinary. Noticing the weight of your feet on the ground. Noticing the sound of a kettle. Noticing the exact shape of an irritation rather than spinning a story about it. Noticing is not analyzing, it is a gentle registration. When we notice without attaching a long narrative, the moment loosens its grip on our anxiety. We begin to see repeating patterns as simply patterns, not judgments about who we are. Noticing is like the mirror the old man placed. It takes the light and shows it to the plant in a different way. The third stone, returning. This is perhaps the trickiest. It is the practice of coming back again and again, to breath, to intention, to a small action, without tallying success or failure. Returning defeats the tyranny of perfection because it values the motion of coming back more than the thin idea of getting it right. The old man did not water the shrub once and walk away. He returned. The river returns. Returning is a form of compassion toward your own restlessness. There is a tension here. We hunger for a single dramatic answer. We want to fix our lives. Yet these three stones sound humble. They ask us to be present, to care repeatedly. We imagine ourselves as needing grand strategy, but what we truly need is the willingness to begin again. Now imagine a day that begins with a single breath, taken with attention, in silence. A day where you notice one small thing with gratitude or curiosity. A mug warming under your hands, the color of the sky for a heartbeat. If you stumble, you return to the breath. It seems too small to matter, and then slowly, like the river, these moments collect. They are not dramatic, they do not make headlines. They do, however, slowly change the terrain of how you meet yourself. You might be thinking, this sounds simple because it is vague. Where is the proof? Simple things are often underestimated because they are not flashy. But look at the practice of walking. No one says walking is glamorous, and yet it reshapes body and mind. Tiny acts build habits, and habits build the architecture of our days. There will be times when silence feels like a threat, when noticing feels like a shameful mirror, when returning feels futile. Expect that. That is the human condition. Expect moments when the lantern blows out and the old man sits in the dark. The important thing is not to avoid the dark, but to learn how to bring a small light again. And again, and again. If a thought arises, perhaps resistance, perhaps curiosity, allow it, and then let it be like a cloud passing over the moon. You do not have to chase every cloud. Noticing can be as gentle as naming. There is resistance. That naming often dissolves the power it held. There is a technique that I offer, not as a rigid rule, but as a map to try. Choose one small anchor in your day. It should be tiny. 2 minutes of quiet, a moment to feel the breath, a single line in your notebook. The key is to make it so small that you cannot reasonably refuse to do it. Make the threshold low. The miracle is in the threshold. Lower it until you can cross it daily. Do this for 90 days, perhaps with pauses. The 90-day frame gives the river time to find its channel. You may ask, what about goals, ambition, healing deep wounds? These stones do not replace medical care, therapy, or practical planning. They support these things by creating a context of steadiness. Healing often requires both the dramatic and the ordinary. Think of a bonsai. It grows slowly with many small trims and attentions. The tree is not finished by a single act. It is shaped by years of small, loving work. There is a story of a sculptor who chiseled away, and a student asked, "How do you know where to strike?" The sculptor replied, "I listen to the stone." These practices, silence, noticing, returning, teach us to listen to our stone. They teach us where to strike and, perhaps more importantly, where not to strike. We have been speaking in images, and now a question returns. What is the core of all this? Why does it feel so deep? The answer is not a technique. It is an orientation. We shift from trying to correct ourselves to learning to tend to ourselves. We shift from performance to presence. This shift feels small at first, and then, like the river, it reshapes our habits. If this message has landed somewhere inside you, if it stirs a quiet hope or a sober doubt, consider leaving a single line in the comments, one honest sentence about what you noticed in this moment. A line is small, it is an act of returning into a shared space, it is enough. Later, a traveler asked the old man if he ever felt discouraged when watering the same shrubs. The man looked at his palms at the lines and said, "Sometimes. But then a blossom surprises me, and I learn to trust the small things again. There is humility in this trust. It admits that effort is not always immediately rewarded, but that the world has its own timing." Before the reveal, hold a quiet question. What small thing could you do today that you can repeat tomorrow? Do not design a perfect system. Design a doorway. A doorway invites you in. It is not a wall you must scale. You will walk through it, and sometimes you will turn back. That is part of the practice. If you know someone who walks in darkness and might welcome a lantern, share this quietly with them. Share not out of urgency, but out of gentle care. A shared lantern does not lessen its light. Now, near the end, I will answer plainly what the lantern and the shrub and the river have been pointing toward. The secret, the core insight, is this. Lasting transformation is not a single dramatic act. It is the art of returning to small, consistent attention. It is the steady tending of your inner garden with the brief, humble acts. When you practice silence to reset the mind, when you notice to break old narratives, and when you return again and again without judging the pace, you create an environment in which change is possible. You do not force the plant to bloom, you create the conditions for blooming. This is surprisingly simple and also surprisingly demanding. Simple because any of us can place a small lantern by our path. Demanding because it asks for patience, for forgiveness toward ourselves, and for the willingness to begin each day without drama. The practice is not glamorous, it is gentle. It asks less of technique and more of fidelity. As you bring this in, remember, a single small thing done with love matters more than many grand things done with anxiety. The world often rewards noise, but life deepens in quiet care. The lantern does not shout, it illuminates. The river does not roar, it perseveres. When you leave this listening, consider one tiny experiment. Choose one small anchor, make it so low a threshold that resistance cannot argue with it, and try it tomorrow. If it helps, tell someone quietly or return here and say how it went. We learn together slowly, like stones shaped by patient water. If you wish to walk together, subscribe to this channel for more gentle reminders. The lantern will grow dim for now, but its warm pull lingers in your hands. Tend it with patience. Tend it with kindness. And when you falter, return. The path remembers those who keep coming back.
Take care of your body. It is the only home you will have in this life. If these words brought you clarity, walk this path with me.